world is trying and failing, so much denying and wailing, fed up with seeking and hiding, analyzing and dividing. It just takes a courageous warrior, a courageous warrior, a courageous warrior of the heart. All that hoping and waiting, never arriving, so frustrating, fed up with lying. Please, no more tricks, no more running. There's nothing to fix. It just takes a courageous warrior, a courageous warrior, a courageous warrior to meet what's here. No limitations, no control, nothing to get, nothing to hold, nothing to lose, nothing to know, nothing to win, no final goal. It just takes a courageous warrior, a courageous warrior, a courageous warrior to face the void.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to those of you joining me on Zoom, and also to those who are watching the YouTube live stream or the recording of it. Yeah, and thank you for the generous donations that many of you have made. Really appreciate that. It really helps. Yeah, and today's theme is facing feelings without fixing them. So before we get into that theme, let's just take a few moments to feel into how we're feeling in this moment. So if you just get comfortable and you can close your eyes, take some deeper breaths into the belly. Emphasizing the out breath so that each time you breathe out, you bring more and more attention to what is presently being experienced. Whatever it is, just the way it is. And then we can start to notice the sensations going on in this human experience right now. Sensations, emotions, and also if there are any thoughts that have any commentary, we just notice it all. Nothing needs to be fixed or changed or added to. And as we notice the sensations, the emotions, feelings, thoughts, there is that is noticing, that is aware of whatever is here. And this awareness doesn't require any effort to be aware. It is that already, always. If there is any effort, this is a sensation happening in awareness. So there is the experience, the sensations, feelings, thoughts, sounds, whatever is happening right now for you. And then there is the knowing of it, the awareness of it. And these apparently two aspects of life exist simultaneously, not separate from one another. In fact, not two. It is only in words that it seems to be two. And acknowledging this awareness of whatever is here right now brings a little distance from the sensation, and at the same time, absolute intimacy with and as this sensation. And we can start to bring our attention to the sensation of sitting on this seat, feeling the ground holding you up. The feet on the ground. And then when you're ready, we can open our eyes. So, our theme today is facing feelings without fixing them. And this theme really hits the point of a lot of our suffering on the spiritual path, but in general in life. This essential belief that an uncomfortable feeling is wrong and a pleasurable feeling is right, or that an uncomfortable feeling means something about me, or a pleasurable feeling means something about me. And if we believe that this feeling means something about me, whether it's positive or negative or in between, that meaning causes all the trouble. Because that meaning is the story about me, the identity, the identification. And when we believe that my identity is dependent on how I feel, what my experience is, then of course we will be doing whatever we can, or whatever we think we can at least, to try to fix my experience, my feelings, so that I am a better me. I have a better identity according to whatever belief system I'm believing in that moment. So if I believe that feeling discomfort, feeling irritation, let's say, means that I'm a bad person, then I will do whatever I need to do to try to fix that feeling of irritation. Perhaps I will try to change it to a peaceful feeling because I think that I'm bad. I believe that I'm bad in that moment, that I'm causing trouble, or people won't like me, I'm unlovable, or all these kinds of beliefs. And so I will try to change it by suppressing it, pushing it away, telling myself a story of I'm peaceful, I don't need to feel that, or because it's wrong, I must immediately change it to a better feeling. And we maybe use practices like positive affirmations or even meditation to actually push away feelings that we consider not okay, or to have a meaning for me that makes me a not okay person, that will affect my actual survival in my life. Because that's what it boils down to, really. If we believe that this feeling means that I'm a bad person in some way, then that becomes very important for me, because it will mean that I won't survive, essentially. If I'm a bad person, then I will be rejected, I will be abandoned, I will be ostracized, exiled. Um, and so, of course, we do whatever we can to survive. This is a natural human mechanism. And of course, with the positive feelings, when we have a feeling of happiness, then that is believed to mean that I'm a good person, I'm a nice person, people will like me, I'm more spiritual, I've got it, whatever it is believed to be, or even an idea that I've arrived. Right, this is it, this is how it's going to be always. But of course, it changes in the next moment, where, however long that might be. And it's this idea that this is it. This means something about me. Makes me a good person or a positive person in some way that feeds the ideas about the apparent negative feelings. So if we believe that the positive feelings mean more, like they have a better meaning for me, make me a better person, then I will be doing whatever I can to hold on to those feelings and to push away the apparent negative feelings. But life is out of control, essentially. And so feelings come and go, life experiences happen, and we get triggered and we feel different feelings depending on circumstances, who we're with, what we're doing, the challenges that we face in life, the losses, the gains, the achievements, the failures, and everything in between. And so feelings are changing, right? Feelings are coming and going, sensations are changing. The body has all its chemistry, right? The moon, the hormones, the all kinds of reasons, aging, everything, affects whatever story we tell. But there are so many effects on these feelings. It's all just changing and changing. And actually, it's happening out of control. And when we see this, really, when we really face this reality that feelings are just waves of energy coming and going, we also face the reality that none of it means anything about me. Also, because there is no me. When we really question, who am I? Who is actually in here living this life? We find that there is no one here. There is the human experience being felt, being experienced. There's sounds, there's sensations, there's images, there's thoughts. But there's no one actually experiencing it, doing it, or controlling it, or owning it. And when we really admit this to ourselves and really confront this reality, at first it can be scary to really face the fact that there is no one here. Then actually we see that there's no need to try to fix anything or change anything, because who needs it to be different? Who needs this apparent positive feeling to be here forever? And who needs to escape or push away any apparent negative feelings? Who needs any of it to be in any way? When we're not believing the story or the identification, the story of me, the meaning for me, then these are just feelings, sensations happening now for no one, for no reason, meaninglessly. They're felt fully. So I'm not talking about somehow denying those feelings or taking some distance from them. In a way, it can feel like we take some distance because we no longer believe in the story of me. And that story of me, when we believe in that and we have taken that so seriously for so long, probably most of our lives, it can seem that when we stop believing in that story that we're kind of distancing ourselves. But it's only because we have been so attached to these feelings. We have made them mean so much to me or about me. So when we let go of that meaning, it can feel as if we pull back But actually, it is really the opposite. Because when we're believing in that meaning for me, we're not really feeling the feeling. We're feeling the meaning for me. We're listening to the story, the belief, but there's also feelings that are generated as a result of that story. So the original feeling is kind of covered over or hijacked by this meaning for me, which is usually a kind of adrenaline rush of excitement for me, whether it's a positive feeling or not. So as we see that there is no meaning for me, and it seems like we have some distance or detach from that story of me or that identification, we are actually left with the original feeling. And without the story of me, there's no boundary that separates who I am actually from the feeling. There is the knowing of the feeling and the feeling itself appearing in that knowing, in that awareness, but they're not separate. We cannot know that the feeling is here and feel it without the awareness of it. They are one and the same. So without the meaning, without the story of me, there is simply the raw, alive, intimate sensation happening meaninglessly, and yet absolute intimacy with this feeling as it's happening. In fact, in that moment, I am this feeling. There's no separation between me and the feeling. I am this feeling. And naturally, it's changing to something else. And then I am that feeling. The waves of change, of sensation, energy, feelings coming and going, happening in and as who I am. And if a story comes in, okay, that's also part of the wave. A story of me might come in telling some meaning, but when we're not really believing that it actually refers to a me, then the story even can be here as part of the wave of energy. We like to tell stories. The suffering only comes when we really take them seriously to actually mean that I am in here, living my life separately from the rest of life. But in seeing that there is no one here, there is simply life happening, feeling felt. Nothing needs to be fixed because there's no one here who needs to fix anything. There's no one who believes that there's any problem, anything wrong, anything missing. There's no one here that is preferring one feeling over another. Just life happening. So I'd love to open it up to you. If you have any questions or anything you'd like to share related to this theme. Unfortunately, those who are joining on YouTube, I can't answer your questions at the moment, but those who are on Zoom, I'm happy to have a dialogue with you.
Hello.
Hello, uh, Lelio.
Hello.
Lelio.
From Italy.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you. First time I connect, and thank you so much for this space. Very
Well,
grateful.
welcome.
Um, I have a question, kind of a few words that you say, especially during the guided meditation, this awareness effort, and
Okay, to try to become awareness, you mean?
I wouldn't say become awareness, but so let's say like this. I know a space of awareness, or there is the experience of a space of awareness where things still manifesting, thoughts and sights and yet it's clear that they're manifesting in this presence. And so I would say in the space, I understand there's no me. Whatever manifests is just, any thoughts, any memory is just, okay, I know that. And that space is it's peace. That's no, yeah, nothing to improve, no reason to improve. What's good or bad, it kind of makes no sense. Everything is it's okay. I would say effort because the space goes away. It doesn't go away, but I lose touch with it. The mind gets activated. Maybe we say like that, and I can ask myself, what's aware of that, whatever is happening, and yet that space doesn't seem to open up, or not always opens up. Sometimes opens up, and sometimes not.
Yeah,
So in that sense, there's still a sense of separation or duality of, like sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't happen.
yeah,
So actually there's, I guess, multiple questions related to this, but
yeah,
just
yeah.
really
Okay.
need to know.
I
So
can re
one is distancing. In that space, there is a sense of distance. Whatever is happening, it's kind of happening, I would say, a bit further away from, you know, from here.
yes,
So I wonder if there is still, if the distance is still a, somewhat an objectification of the space of, like, I'm, yeah. And
yeah,
that goes with the sense of also being located. Sometimes more present, sometimes less present. But often it's a sense of there is like space. I imagine like a space, and I'm here in the space, and what's happening is there in that space. And
yeah.
I realize that that's also an object in it. But
I'm going to cut in, yeah, to respond. Otherwise, there's
yeah,
too
yeah, yeah. Please do.
much for
Yeah.
me to respond to because there's a few things that I would like to say. Um, So I hear a few misunderstandings or misconceptions in the way you're speaking. So one thing is I hear a preference, right, for that state of opening up,
Mhm.
right? Which is understandable, nothing wrong with that. But just to notice that there is that preference, right? And that preference is thought giving meaning to one state over another.
Mhm.
That thought is, you could say, the spiritual identity that would like to live always in that state of openness because it feels good and it's expansive, right? Um, and that thought is also giving meaning to that state and saying it's better. I want more of
You
that.
say like this is practice, this is meditation. Somehow say this is the right meditation, and when I'm agitated, this is not.
Right. So yeah, that's same
Still
thing.
meaning,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So there's this belief that that is better. And then when there's agitation or contraction or something like that, then there is a belief that that's not okay. Right? I
Mhm.
need to fix that and get back to the state of openness.
Mhm.
And that's the troublemaker right there, that idea that one state is better than the other.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, these states come and go. And okay, maybe you do have a preference for one over the other, but the states come and go. And most likely they always will in some degree.
Mhm.
And So the thing to focus on is not the state. The thing to focus on is the meaning that you're believing in,
Mm.
the meaning that you're giving this state of openness and the preference for that. And it's, it's not an easy one because having that preference is based in perhaps a deeper longing, right, to live always with an open heart or in truth, in freedom, in openness, right? But the mind hijacks that and it turns it into a goal. You know? And it remembers times when you felt great because you were so open, and it tries to get there again. And it does that by separating out the uncomfortable feelings of agitation or more thinking or contraction or whatever. And it says that's not okay. So that's where the separation is. So when you believe that half of your experience is not okay to be here.
Mhm. Mhm.
But the truth is that it is okay to be here because it is here. Whether you like it or not, it's here.
Mhm.
Yeah?
Mhm.
So when it's here to be met, to be felt, to be included. This too is life itself,
Mhm.
experiencing itself.
Yeah, great. That's yeah, that feels very helpful. Yes. And can I say further? Do you mind?
Mhm. Sure.
That seems, yeah, this seems to be a misunderstanding. That somehow, yeah, like a meaning, I guess, like you said, that's not only is pleasurable, but that's awareness observing what's happening, while when there is agitation, there is not. Then maybe also my unconscious definition of awareness is still somehow there is a controlling, I would say, or like something like that.
Yeah.
And to that, I had an experience that happened a few months ago, in which I don't know something happened, and everything I was perceiving, let's say, seeing, touching, it was kind of on its own. I wasn't. It was just bringing back to awareness. Everything seemed much easier, much more natural, much more. I wasn't, I wasn't even there, I would say, and everything was bringing back to awareness. There was no gap anymore. And yeah, I don't know if you have anything to say to that. It just seemed like so much like effort had disappeared in the moment. It was just things were flowing. And yeah.
And those kind of experiences are so beautiful and such a gift because in that experience you recognize that is beyond all of the play of experience, essentially. Like you recognize that is not touched by all the ups and downs of life. And that's who you are. That's your true nature, right? But the experience of recognizing that naturally will pass. It will change, right? The problem is, as I said before, is the meaning that you give to it.
Mhm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
If you can enjoy it while it's there and have, receive the gifts, the insights of it, and then when it passes, okay,
Mhm.
this is how it is now. And you actually may be surprised that there are even greater gifts in the challenges of life.
Mhm.
The sweet experiences, in a way, they're easy somehow. It's not much of a challenge.
Mhm.
But when we have to face the really uncomfortable feelings, it's really like when we dive into the depths of hell in ourselves. Okay, of course, it's absolutely painful, extremely uncomfortable, but at the same time, there's an aliveness in that,
Mhm.
And so just, just notice where you are rejecting these uncomfortable feelings, or even feelings that are more on the ground, you know? like more human. Because of course there's a preference for this kind of stepping back and watching it all. And that's a state that, we can all bask in sometimes. And it's beautiful. We just bask in that. Wow. But life will slap you down at some point. That's the human experience, and that's the paradox of life. And that's the beauty of life as these humans. Right? So it's the whole spectrum of experience, not just those kind of states where we step back. Saying that also those states where we step out of our personal story, right? So you have believed in a me story most of your life, I suspect, and then when you pop out of that and you step back in and you start to have those kinds of states that you describe, of course, it's like blissful compared to taking me and my story so seriously and meaningfully. I understand, but don't get stuck on that stepping out all the time.
Yeah, well, it's hard to say which one is a better teacher because in this state there is a perspective and see a lot of things, and sometimes being caught in whatever drama I'm caught in, it feels like sometimes it feels a waste of time. Like the mind spins on itself, and it's kind of the same story repeating. So, but I hear what you say. They can also be a great teacher, and yeah, sometimes it's hard to distinguish.
Yeah, well, also in the midst of the story spinning like this, if you can, it's not always possible, but if you can, to bring the attention to the physical sensations,
Mm.
that first of all supports like you not thinking so much, right, and brings the attention to the sensations, but also it brings you out of all the past, future, what if possibilities to what is happening presently. Right? The sensations are happening presently, and they're also much more simple. Right? Thoughts will just complicate everything. The sensations are happening presently. But the thing is that we prefer, in a way, to go into thought because the sensations often are uncomfortable. That's why we're spinning in thought, because we don't want to feel. So it takes some courage to say, okay, I'm stepping out and I'm just going to feel it, even if it kills me, because sometimes it can feel like it might, if I feel it, it might even kill me. It probably won't. You never know. But it can feel like that. And actually just to stay with it, to stay with it. It naturally will change, but yeah. So that's something, that's at least something you can kind of practice in a way, like when you can, to step out of those spinning thoughts, feeling the sensations.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, Vitesha.
Hi. I don't
Lovely.
have a question, but I want to say hello.
Lovely to see you.
And you look very nice with this dress.
I can't hear you.
You look very nice in this dress.
Thank you.
Yeah, very feminine, like a goddess. But I don't think I don't exist, no. I have feeling I do exist. And
I'm not saying you don't exist.
there's no me.
Yeah, but that's different to saying you don't exist.
Okay.
All right, like you feel you have feelings, sensations, you have your experience, right? It's just that what I'm saying is that there's no one doing it.
It's just happening over.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I have a tumor in my leg, yeah.
Do you have a what?
Tumor,
Oh wow.
cancer.
Hmm.
And it's gonna be removed Friday the 13th.
Wow.
I don't think it's a good date, but
Hmm.
what to do? I could try all kinds of alternative healings, but I have disappointment now, so I think I better go there.
How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, not so great. Yeah. I also have this problem. I had scabies. You know, scabies? These little animals that crawl under your skin
Oh.
and they itch. And when it's over now, I'm not more contagious. But the thing is, if you are older, have a you can have a allergy against it.
Hmm.
And I have this allergy against it, and it's worse than the scabies. So I mean, physically, I am in a bad state actually.
Hmm. Are you worried about the operation that you're having?
Mm, not that I not. Yeah, at times I feel a bit fear,
Hmm.
but I will probably just go there and then they put me to sleep. That I don't like actually, that they put me to sleep. But
Yeah.
what can I do? Well, it's,
You have a deep sleep.
yeah, I have a good sleep, and then I stay 1 week in the hospital
Oh.
because I need to. I cannot stand. I need to keep my leg. I cannot. Yeah, gravity is not good for my leg.
Hmm. Well, I'll be thinking of you. Yeah, lovely to see you.
Yeah,
Uh,
same thing.
maybe see you in the summer.
I hope if I get better. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have this problem that I cannot walk anymore.
Hmm. Well, I hope they can help you.
You'll be
Nice.
in Amsterdam in the summer? Or?
Yes, that's the plan. I have a retreat in the Netherlands.
Yeah,
Um,
I remember.
at the end of July. So yeah. Anyway, we can talk more.
Okay,
Lovely to see you.
lovely to see you too. Enjoy.
Thank you. Kati, is that your finger up? Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
I want to explore the fear. I feel more I explore myself, and more I'm getting old, and more I feel the fear. I mean, uh, so I would like to have distance, more distance with the fear, but it's like, yeah, it's really here.
Mm.
And yeah, you said about feeling the feelings. But I think I don't know if I make story with these feelings, but it's often there, especially when in human daily life, when I want to speak about myself, or yeah, it's often there because I don't know how to speak about myself. So the fear is really, yeah, really
I mean,
present.
when you expose your feelings, is that what you mean when you say speak about yourself?
Yes,
Like
yeah,
when you say how you feel?
yeah. I think even often in daily life, I feel this kind of fear. I don't know. I make this feeling. I make for me, it's like fear, but maybe it's just energy. Yeah,
I mean, when we put a label on it, we also give it a story in a way.
yeah,
But at the same time, we have to use words if we're talking. So,
yeah.
yeah, but if we take the label lightly and not too seriously, because it is just waves of energy, really.
Mhm,
And we can analyze, like, why am I feeling fear? What am I afraid of? And we could analyze it. And sometimes that's interesting, to have some insight into what it is that I am afraid of. And when we look closely at that, maybe we see, well, actually, I'm being afraid of something that, when I look closely at it, is not scary at all.
mhm,
Sometimes looking at the story can be a bit helpful to some degree, but it's not going to get rid of fear completely. So trying to have more distance from the fear is another kind of sneaky way of trying to
mhm,
get rid of it, I feel. So instead of having more distance from it, try the other way, right? That actually feeling it, making friends with it,
mhm.
because it is part of life,
Yeah.
right? It's a human survival mechanism, fear.
Mhm. Yeah, it's really present. So,
Yeah, so then it's calling for attention.
mhm. Yeah, I know the story about my childhood, but it doesn't help. It's just theory. So,
Yeah, so then it leaves you
yeah.
with the feeling itself.
Mhm.
It's calling. It's like, hey, feel me, feel me. You know? So sometimes just staying with the fear, you might realize that you have fear of fear.
Mhm.
And when you just stay with the feeling of fear, the fear of it gets less.
Yeah. Yeah, I can feel it now. It's less.
Yeah. So you can see it like an invitation, right? It's every time there's fear, it can be an invitation to bring more attention there.
Mhm.
Or like with curiosity. Oh, I'm afraid. What am I afraid of right now? What's going on? Let's feel it. Where in the body
Mhm.
do I feel it?
Without the why, just feeling.
Yeah, doesn't have to have the why. I mean, because the why often, not always, but often has the motivation to fix it.
Yeah.
If I can understand why, then I'll make it go away.
Yeah.
That, but you can ask why in a lightweight, like with curiosity, but without trying to fix it. This sensation of fear can be here forever.
Mhm. There's a thin line between fixing, feeling.
Yes, it's a thin line, can be open for things to change and curious how they might change, but it's very different to having a goal and making effort and making it mean something if it doesn't change or if it is there. So, yeah, essentially it's simply feeling the fear.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Kati. Dennis, you wrote, I can often sense the onlyness of everything, but there is still something there identifying with being the observer. That won't fall away. Perhaps my wanting it to fall away is the problem. I don't know what to do with that except to notice it and welcome it as well. So let me just try to understand your question. It's often the sense of the onlyness of everything, the oneness, maybe you mean, but there is still something there identifying with being the observer. Yeah, I mean, maybe you mean like in a way, like a kind of spiritual identity that says, I'm the one observing. And you can notice that it's a thought. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a thought. It doesn't mean that you're really identifying with anything. Thoughts can go on telling their me stories. They're welcome. They're not talking about any me. There's no me here, but the me stories can keep saying me, me, me. So it doesn't have to fall away, because who cares if it falls away or not? There's no one here.
Thank you. I wasn't looking at that as just another part of the story.
Okay.
I think when I said onlyness, I mean just everything being as it is without there being an observer. And I get a sense of that all the time, but there's just this other sense that there's a me. And that's the conundrum. So
But the
I
sense,
wasn't thinking of that as a thought.
but even the sense of me, even if it's a sensation or a feeling or something like that, or flavor, even any kind of energetic flavor, it's happening in who you are. And it never actually means that you are a separate me, even if you have that sense. It's just life pretending to be a separate me. But don't take it too seriously.
Yeah, that's helpful. It's like every little piece that gets whittled away is helpful. Piece of what I don't know, but you know what I mean.
I do. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. Well, unless there's any more questions, we could end there. But just before we go, I just want to tell you that the next open meeting is on the 22nd of June on the theme Freedom from the Inner Critic. And also every Tuesday at 5 o'clock Portugal time, which is the same as UK time, we have an hour of silence, and you're welcome to join. It's now going to be also live streamed on YouTube if you want to dip in, but you can also join us on Zoom in the same way as some of you have here. And then, as I said earlier, I have a retreat, a 5-day retreat in the Netherlands in the last week of July on the theme Freedom is Who You Are. And there are still places left if you want to join us. It's going to be a very beautiful, intimate 5 days together in a beautiful countryside place in the Netherlands. And we'll be diving deep into the exploration of who we really are, the recognition of that, and then also how this is actually lived in our daily lives. So, yeah, welcome to join us. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and see you next time. Lots of love. Bye.